Hello everybody, and welcome back to the conversation. If you've been following the last few videos, I've been sharing about kind of the impact the visions had on me emotionally, and it also makes me think a lot about, you know, how I guess really helps me put shit in perspective. So that's what I'm saying. Like if I can't take these visions for face value, they were mostly there to help me put things in perspective. At any rate, oh man, got an itch all of a sudden. So I was telling you about the song that inspired me to draw these naughty cartoons about Bill Lead, which was one that he wrote. Now, on this one album, there were actually two whole songs that seemed to be romance or sex related, where I really loved the term hateful. Now, as we're coming up on Valentine's, I didn't pick this discussion just for that reason, but it was just kind of a nice coincidence that it's coming up on Valentine's Day, and I wanted to talk about this stuff, like the term hateful, feeling very hateful around Valentine's Day. Bah humbug, other than chocolate I could care less. But that picture I wanted to share with you, I ended up sending off in a Valentine's card to Bill just because I thought that card was so funny, because it had like these two big dinosaurs, and one was handing the other, looked like a little box that you'd get chocolates in, and then it's holding it up, and you could tell the people are screaming, and the other one's saying, yeah, they're scream-filled. And I saw that, and I thought that was so funny because of those jokes I make and those pictures I've drawn, so I had to send it to Bill. So I snatched that drawing down right off the refrigerator and sent it to him without even making a copy for myself. And now all I've got left is the one here on the internet, on my Facebook page. Only place I have to go back and see it. There it is on my Facebook page. Oh, I forget how to do this, guys. It's so funny. Tap on it, draw on it. Now we can get a good look at my drawing. Now, this is the first one I did, and I wanted to share about this because they had a fan page on Facebook that was being run by this jerk named Steve Ara, and I had posted a couple of things that weren't directly related to Frontline Assembly, so he wrote to me and said this has to be only stuff that relates to Frontline Assembly and nothing else. But he kept posting these little alien cartoons, but then he'd put this song underneath it, and so that was kind of my little way of I don't know, being a brat to him. I got myself kicked off their page, by the way, by drawing this picture. Now, only thing wrong with this picture is Bill didn't know it was an alien. But this picture, I think this picture is just wrong. Unfortunately, you can't see the headboard banging against the wall like the other one. But yeah. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the song is about, but I just figure, you know, like I was saying about that mean girlfriend he had, you know, she just seemed like such a pretentious person with all her little costumes and everything, and so that's kind of what I think of her too, you know, like she's a lot like Roger the Alien, if you've ever seen the cartoon American Dad, that the alien dresses up in all these different costumes, and when he dresses like a drag queen, he actually picks up some pretty hot dates. Well, oh my goodness, but since we're on this topic, I really thought it would be fun to point out the coincidence here is that I believe I may have made love to an alien myself, because to bring things back to purpose, I've been going into visionary state throughout my childhood, and my little boyfriend Billy was supposed to be Bill Leib of Frontline Assembly, who wrote this song. And so the way the visionary state thing works is kind of like if you ever see the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, and how they built that machine and she went into like a parallel timeline or whatever, similar to what I did. Well, the alien looked like her father, you know, and he explained, well, we need to take shape so we can talk, you know. So they look like somebody she could talk to, and in this case, there may be more than the reason of, you know, giving me someone to talk to. Like, I felt like it was meant to make me go find Bill Leib But just to recap briefly, it was back in 1982 when this stuff started, and my friend Rosie, I didn't know her till 1996, but she was the one that was keeping Billy in the visionary state. And she was the one that explained everything about how we're going to grow up and get married someday. But the next time I seen Billy, he explained all that stuff to me as well. And he also asked me how I would like to go on a spaceship ride. So now that I've been friends with Rosie, one of her biggest topics have been ufology. She believes, I'm not going to say she believes, I think she knows this for a fact, that her and her husband have been beamed up, and her second husband, they've witnessed UFOs in the sky. And I kind of think her and Howard did one where, like, they went into a spaceship and the beings were invisible, and when she asked to see them, they said there's no point, you know. It's just, you know, we can like take shape for you, but we don't, you know, these beings that exist on a higher level, you know, they're not physical like we are. So this is kind of, you know, beyond conventional science, because we're talking about, you know, you're a conscious presence, and conscious presence can exist in other different forms. And so this might be a major lesson for us. Like right now, it's a big topic about people seeing UFOs and people wanting to discuss it, and we want disclosure and all this good stuff. Well, actually, I think that's something that Rosie's second husband was big on. I think he was always writing letters to get disclosure and stuff like that as well. And he was a college professor in science, and he really loved this issue. So that's kind of interesting that this kind of comes back to this visionary state, you know, where, you know, Billy had brought up the spaceship ride, but then, like, in those last two visions where I'd seen him, he wanted to teach me how to make love. And so it's kind of like, when you think about it, it's kind of like, oh my God, I made love to an alien. But it wasn't so bad. I'm just thinking, hey man, you know, the people in my visions are just like they are in reality. Like, if Bill Lieb is anything like this in my visions, then he was a good kisser. Not to mention, Bill Lieb's one of those guys that likes his dick sucked, but tell me a guy who doesn't, right? Now, and not only that, but I just thought I'd mention that Billy mentioned to me, he wanted me to suck his dick, and he told me this is how you get into the music business. And then on the way out the door, he said something like, "No, you can't tell anyone what we're doing. We're trying to get you into the music business." And after that, I thought I'd seen him on the Navy base when we went there to see an air show. And, you know, like as an adult. And so, like, you know, I've been kind of wondering, you know, what exactly is being done to me. Like, is it MK Ultra or whatever? So, you know, I've definitely wondered all kinds of stuff. Is it just psychosis? I don't think it's just psychosis or anything that just stems from my own imagination, but rather something that's being inflicted on me, where I'm going into this visionary state. And I've kind of gone over this lots and lots of times. There's a lot of people out here. I bet there's a lot of people around the world right now who could tell you their stories. I've met quite a good handful, like my Kung Fu master. He goes into the visionary state, and he's a woman. That's very interesting. And then my friend Valdine, she says she's probably spent at least 1,000 years of her life in the visionary state. And so it hasn't happened to me in a long time, but I want to be ready in case it happens again. I think this is really, really, really cool, and I feel like I'm very lucky to have discovered it. But the thing that's been making it so difficult is where they put Bill Lieb in there, and made me want to go meet him. And so now, one of the things that Billy said too in that last conversation where he wanted to teach me make love and all this, is that I'm really going to get my feelings hurt a lot by boys later on, and he wanted to make sure I know what it's like to be loved. So he said something like I'd be disrespected and all that, and he was right. I was totally disrespected, and so all that came true. I mean, like, they try to warn teenagers not to try sex until they're good and ready, right? Because what happens is, you know, you might think, hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with having sex. We're just going to have some fun and have some sex. Well, I felt like I was being open-minded a few different times where I thought, you know, I didn't mind having sex with somebody and not being in a relationship. I just thought it'd be fun and it would be okay. But then these people end up laughing about you and spreading rumors that you're a slut and all this type of stuff. And so I feel like I've been put down by guys after they had sex with me, which is really kind of weird. Like, so when I was 19, I've actually had to have an abortion. And before I got the abortion, I went to look for the person who got me pregnant because I thought it would be fair to him to inform him and give him a choice. Well, he had gone out of town with one of his ex-girlfriends because he wanted to play daddy to her baby that she had with some other guy. And then the boys that he used to hang out with said, "Oh, I don't believe you." He said he wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, you know, because they'd seen me come up and give him a peck on the cheek or something. They probably, you know, had that conversation. And the thing about him, too, is after we screwed, he was already after another chick, which was something that the other guys thought was okay. You know, some skinny chick with long hair, you know. But, you know, that's not somebody I particularly miss, but it's, you know, really frustrating to have somebody get you pregnant and then deny it. Or, like, you know, find out they've said stuff like that. And so, I kind of feel like my opinion of, you know, sex and romance and the whole dating scene is that it's pretty hostile. And I really only have one friend in the world that I still talk to that was one of my boyfriends. So I was only with him for about a month or two. And I feel like maybe my attraction to him was that he's very kindred and all this good stuff. And I was needing a boyfriend and he was needing a girlfriend. And I feel like, you know, we probably had a lot of things going, but I just felt like I wasn't in love with him enough, you know, like I couldn't, you know, be the girlfriend and make love and all this. And so I consider him to be a real friend because, like, I really don't know anybody I've ever had sex with. Like, my kung fu teacher, I don't really think he's a real friend, you know. Otherwise, he would have been like the other person I had tried. I was trying to stay in touch with him, but I said one little thing that offended him, and I think he's using that to finally get away from me, you know? Anyways, that's another story, and since then, you know, like, you know, I've had a few different sex partners where, like, I don't really have any bad feelings towards them, or I don't really miss them, but there's just been certain instances where, like, I've experienced the hostility of the romance and dating and the coldness of it. And, you know, so reflecting on all this stuff, you know, and how I feel about romance, I feel like, you know, I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to get out of, you know, trying to contact Bill Lee but not getting anywhere, because basically what ended up happening with him is it kind of got dragged out, and then later on after I moved to Montana, he had that mean girlfriend, and he told her, you know, he thinks I'm just fat, ugly, and stupid, so she really enjoyed being the one to tell me all that. And so, like, so I feel like, you know, I've been just led on for all these years to find someone that thinks that way of me, you know. And, well, I think the parallel I see in that is that's the kind of language I've heard growing up all those years with my mom and dad, you know, because when my dad was angry at my mom, he was always telling her that she's fat, ugly, and stupid, right? But he loves her. He's probably the one person in the world that loves her more than anyone else, vice versa. So, you know, they've been apart for some time, and now they're back together, you know. But this is how I heard my father talk about my mom, or to my mom, all these years, you know. And when I look at it, the guy that had sex with me and got me pregnant was so ashamed of it. He's like, I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. But then I come around Bill Lee, and I've had all these different women try to, like, get really vicious with me. You know, I feel like they're kind of, like, shifting down to their animal level, because, like, you gotta understand, we have 3 parts to our brain, and I think when we go into, like, fight or flight, we just, like, we click down to the animal level, you know. And something I experienced too, like, I think my goose was really possessive, but he also seemed kind of sexual or something. Like, he didn't want me near another goose. He was almost like my husband, you know. And he, I don't know if this other goose was male or female. I thought it was a hen, but man, if I went to pet this other goose, he would attack it. And then I got the goose and I was holding it, and he started attacking me. So he started attacking her, and I was trying to fend him off. And it made me realize that's what these women are doing, you know. Maybe they can tell, like, you know, Bill's kind of like me wanting to pet that goose, and they know it, and so they're attacking me. And if he goes and tries to be friendly, then they attack him, you know. And so that's why I'm kind of wondering, you know, if Now, something I've been told about Bill is that he lies about a lot of things. He's not always honest, and that's something I've kind of picked up in my own personal experience. So, you know, not to badmouth him or anything, but he's not always honest, and it just seems like after all the different ways that people have responded around us, you know, it makes me wonder if he's kind of like that guy Nick, you know. Ironically, Nick was kind of similar to Bill, so I guess I've always liked guys that were like Billy. You know, he's kind of a tall guy, had that, almost looked like that dark blonde hair, light brown hair, the light colored eyes, kind of intelligent, good looking guy, you know. So the thing is, this guy wanted to fuck me so bad I was pregnant with this kid, and he's like, I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. And then you look at my mom and dad, you fat, ugly, stupid piece of shit. Well, he still kept fucking her, and now, like, he's the one taking care of her, you know. So point being is, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Lee, you know, for all I know, maybe he does have feelings for me and he can't admit it, that all these years he's been hoping to get me in bed, and instead of letting him pay the consequences, I've been kind of ridiculed for trying to get him in bed. So anyways, I kind of wanted to put that out there. Like, I'm just kind of wondering if I'm, you know, like, I'm being led to Bill Lee because he would like me, but he can't admit it because I don't live up to society standards, you know. And then I don't really pick on his wife too much in my cartoons and stuff. I think I had one cartoon about her and I couldn't find it anywhere, but like, she likes to paint these women in these big dresses, you know. So she likes the traditional Orthodox kind of woman with the dress and the makeup and all this. And that's where I feel like, you know, her and I are opposite. I really hate how culture is telling us we have to be a certain way. And I feel like there she is supporting it, you know. So that's where I feel like she's very Orthodox. But, you know, as long as Bill Lee's in good hands, as long as he's with the person he loves, I support it very much. But it's just, the point being is, in '98, I felt like she ran a smear campaign against me. Instead of saying, hey, I'm Bill's wife, you know. Me, him, and her were all standing right there. We all could have had a talk, but because we didn't, I felt like it kind of made room for all this stuff to kind of linger on and on and on. So, later on, I made friends with her after I moved to Big Fork and got online and talked to her a little bit. So I did try to, I kind of felt like I appreciated her for making an effort to, like, you know, communicate openly with me. But she really don't like me talking about the visionary stuff. She's like, you know, it just sounds like you're on drugs or something. So she didn't really give me a chance to explain myself. It's like, I don't want to hear it, dude. Just like, whatever. But, since, Bill Lee's tried to go back to his wife, you know, I haven't really talked to her much because, I don't know, just the last conversation we had, she kind of, I just felt like it was really condescending and stuff. And so there's a lot of things there where I just feel like, when I look at Bill Lee and his wife, you know, I can see why he might not really be interested in somebody like me. It's like, those two guys, they think they're like high society, you know? And, you know, they make me think of like hoity-toity art snob types, you know, go to their cheese and wine parties and they're like, it's like, well, you see, my dear, we hopped across the pond and we had brunch in London and dinner in Paris. We went to the Louvre and the Symphony, you know. So I feel like something I heard Bill say, it's like their family coming from Europe to America. You know, back in Europe, you just kind of get stuck in one class, but here you have the opportunity to move up in class. So maybe it's been part of his hopes to kind of go up in class. So him and his wife were like high society, you know. So nothing wrong with having money, you know. Like if I was a millionaire and I had that money, you know, I would definitely appreciate that, because, you know, and I look at what the women want, you know, they're like, I want you to take me here and take me there. You know, I guess if I was in a relationship like that, because, you know, I would be like, hey, let's go out and find all the best underground electronic music there is. Or I'd be like, let's go out and find all the best swim holes there are. But these people, they're like, they're going to go stay in some hotel that's like all gold plated and do all this stuff. And then you know, like I was saying, I kind of feel like, I wish I found a guy that, likes the kind of music I grew up with. But then I look in on Bill, and like he's taking his wife to see Elton John and stuff like that. Tears for Fear, you know, all stuff from the radio. Like they listen to radio music. You know how they say you shouldn't marry your fans because, you know, if you change course in life, they're going to lose interest in you. Well, it's a good thing Bill Lee didn't marry me, because as soon as he came out with that Amadeus shit, man, the divorce papers would have been BAM! Right on the table. At any rate, maybe everything's for the better, you know, and Bill Lee is where he belongs, you know, because I just feel like, you know, and I really, you know, to each their own, but to me, you know, these guys are like high society and all this stuff. So I could see, like, I'm just like trailer trash to these people. I'm like Homer Simpson to these people. I could care less, but hey, think of me. Actually, we say we don't care what people think of us, but it does matter. I'm sorry, you know, Bill Lee isn't more favorable towards me. But if he loved me as much as that kid Billy loved me in those visionary state, I would certainly care what he thinks of me and easily reciprocate that. At any rate, I have more cartoons I'd like to share, but I want to stop it here and start a new video to do it. Talk to you soon.